This week,
we dance the night away at Winter Formal,
Warrior investigates bad weather,
highlight one of the most involved teachers,
explore a new theater class, MCHS,
and checkmate at chess sectionals.
All of that and more
on the Warrior Weekly.
Good morning, Warriors, and welcome to this week's edition of the Warrior Weekly, presented by Warrior Student Media. I'm Emberlyn Carlson.
And I'm Maddie Spencer. This week we highlight one of the most involved teachers at MCHS, look into one of MCHS's newest classes, and celebrate a club that's heading to state.
But first, the freshman campus hosts their first ever Winter Formal with over 450 students coming to dance the night away.
This year at MCHS freshman campus, the student council was able to finally turn the idea of having a Winter Formal into reality. On January 20th, students packed the freshman campus, enjoying the food and drinks provided, while also jamming with the DJ. Student Council President Charlotte Alexander elaborates on how the Student Council surfaced the idea for the Winter Formal.
So Winter Formal has actually been something that's been in the works for a really long time. Last year, we really wanted to do something like that. It ended up taking the form of dance and dodgeball. This year, we surveyed, and students said that they really wanted a formal homecoming type of dance. Just really wanted to make that happen.
Advisor Stephanie Lucas talks about how student council members assemble the formal.
So Winter Formal was 100% student council members figuring out what decorations are we going to do, what's the playlist going to look like, what are the other elements that we want to make sure that we include. So it was a lot of planning. A lot. And then the day of was setting up, all the different areas, we brought in the cocktail table so that it could feel a little fancier than just a normal cafeteria. I think the kids really enjoyed that part of it. And prepping all the food took a while on Saturday morning, so we were here for 4 hours on Saturday morning. It was a whole year of planning, and so it was really exciting to see it come to fruition this weekend.
It takes many rounds of trial and error in order to get something just right. Charlotte shares her personal opinion for future events like this.
I definitely think that Winter Formal is something that could be really special and really beneficial to the McHenry community and McHenry culture. I think there are definitely some changes that could be made for next year to make it more inclusive for everyone and make it more exciting. But I think that Winter Formal is going to become a new part of McHenry tradition.
We can't wait to see what Student Council presents for us next year. Reporting for the Warrior Weekly, we are Cameron Mitchell, Grace Summers, Alina Noel, and Mika Doe.
Now, second semester was supposed to kick off without a hitch, but the weather had other plans.
Warrior Student Media investigates what happens when the weather turns sour at MCHS.
Message from McHenry District 156. Today, Friday, January 12th, all District 156 schools will be closed for in-person instruction due to inclement weather.
From snow to ice to negative temperatures, McHenry has been plagued with winter weather over the past months, pushing District 156 to initiate an emergency learning plan. The district prepared teachers to carry out their lessons digitally in case of inclement weather.
First off, the big decision, which is always super difficult, is just the decision to not come to school that day in person, right? And that really depends on, obviously, the weather itself. So what we always do, number one, is we look to see if it's either an advisory or a weather storm warning. And anytime the weather flips to that warning level, we start considering closing school. If we have some preparation on the front end, like we kind of did this last time, where we can tell kids to take their Chromebooks home, we can prepare our teachers, we can start having conversations about it, we know that weather event is happening, and we can kind of prep people, then we're more likely to go to the e-learning platform.
With bouts of bad weather at the beginning of the semester, e-learning was implemented to reduce the amount of snow days to make up at the end of the year. Despite the odd circumstances, staff and students wielded a new mindset towards online days.
I think, the first experience, it's always tricky, but hopefully I hope that second day when we had the storm, the freezing temperature, but people were kind of used to it at that point. We called it the night before, and hopefully that was a more productive day and more kids were able to participate. But that's our number one concern. We want that instructional day to be meaningful, and we want to make sure all of our kids can participate.
Many MCHS students became familiar with asynchronous learning during the 2020 global pandemic. Senior Maya Gill gives insight on her experience with virtual learning during COVID versus the emergency plan now.
During COVID, it was kind of felt like a drag that we weren't back at school, and it just felt hard to keep doing e-learning every day. But now that we did it back for snow days, I kind of enjoyed it.
With this new plan, administration hopes to keep the school year on track to preserve the schedule and keep finals back-to-back at the end of May. The emergency plan hopes to help students from missing out on their education when school is canceled and avoid attending the additional days at the end of the year.
We do our very best with the information that we have on hand. The great thing about e-learning is that, we really want to reserve that time. We have emergency days planned at the end of the calendar, but any emergency day we take now would put us in a situation where we'd have to come back to school after Memorial Day. So we're really trying to avoid that if we can, because we don't want to add those days to a calendar because it just kind of complicates finals. People with plans, summer plans, obviously summer school. So if we can keep the calendar that we have, that's great.
Weather will always be unpredictable, but having a prepared e-learning plan makes school a whole lot easier in the Midwest winter. Reporting for the Warrior Weekly, we're Layla Moreno, Grace Mueller, Madison Harvey, and Kiera Kearns.
Next, Key Club and our newest club, Business Professionals of America, couldn't float without Mrs. Kirk. Warrior Student Media has the story.
Teachers and staff here at MCHS don't get the credit they deserve, being vital to our students' school life without getting little to no recognition. In the new wing on the second floor, Assistant Key Club and BPA Assistant Advisor, Mrs. Kirk teaches with her CTA position under MCHS's Business Department. She teaches a variety of classes like marketing and consumer education, and believes that these courses are more than important for a student's everyday life.
So the classes that I teach are Intro to Business, Business Management, Marketing, and Consumer Education. So all those classes I think hold value, not just for kids that want to go to college and do that route, but even for kids that are trying to figure out their pathway. No matter what industry you get yourself into, you probably need to know a little bit about maybe leadership skills and management skills. I've had kids that have decided they were going to be a surgeon. And they're like, I'm going to go do that. And that's awesome. They still have to have people skills and how to market yourself as an individual. So I think that holds value.
Close friend and associate, Miss Teal, is the head advisor of Key Club. Working alongside Mrs. Kirk, she details her experience with Kirk and her opinion on Kirk's influence here at MCHS.
It's just great to have two adults to help supervise when we have so many kids at a meeting, and just to bounce off ideas off someone. Otherwise, we always have my ideas and what I've been used to, and she's brought new ideas and new experiences from her previous teaching experience. I think she's made a very positive influence on the business department and the school here. She has helped. She has been influential in bringing BPA, the Business Professionals of America, to our school, which has really excited a lot of our students and brought another club available for students to participate in. In the math department, math doesn't really change a whole lot, so we don't have to update the curriculum as much as we do in other subjects, but business is constantly changing. And she is constantly updating her sources and her resources and the projects she does for kids. She wants to make it energetic and entertaining for her kids and important for them so they get something out of it.
With gaining much success and truly finding a home at MCHS, being a teacher wasn't Kirk's first choice for her career. She found success elsewhere in business.
I did not take the traditional route that most teachers or some people do. I went to school and work, I had to help my mom. We had fallen on some hard times, and so I had two younger brothers, so I stayed to help my mom. So during that time, when I was working, going to school, trying to figure myself out, I realized that my education was hopefully something that could help me out. I finished my bachelor's degree, I was 29. And the minute I finished, I made really good money. I started working at Abbott Labs and was making $85,000 a year, working 4 days a week. But I didn't love it. What I loved was learning. I said, no, I want to go into teaching. A year later, I left Abbott. I haven't looked back.
We are so lucky and fortunate to have Mrs. Kirk here at MCHS, and we're excited for what's to come in the future. Reporting for the Warrior Weekly, we are Dennis Turkan, Aaron Duarte, and Lex Bach.
February is Black History Month. The Black Student Union will be hosting a free movie night in the Warrior Room on Tuesday, February 13th after school. There will be snacks and drinks for purchase.
Now, it's one thing to be an actor in a play, but what does it take to be one behind the stage?
MCHS has over 50 different elective classes, and Scene Study is a new one that just opened up for the second semester. Sabrina Glosson gives us an insight on what it's all about.
So, scene study is a class basically all about like the fundamentals of directing. We read through scenes and then we act them out, and usually someone, like a classmate in the class, is the one directing the actors in the scene.
Last semester, the main theater elective was stagecraft, which was about how a stage was built. Andrew Hilliard explains how scene study differs from stagecraft.
Stagecraft was all of the backstage stuff, so how to work on a crew. We did units in set design, lighting, costuming, a little bit of sound, so all of that kind of stuff, publicity. And this is more about the script itself, so how to read a script and take clues from the perspective of how would I put this on stage.
Scene study allows for new experiences with returning theater students and new students interested in the theater program.
In a smaller environment, it's not the huge drama club department that we have, so they can kind of ease into what it's going to be like to interact with these like theater people.
Hilliard describes how theater is important because of what the art form can allow you to accomplish.
I think it's great, obviously, for our theater students to be able to look at a script in more depth than what they're used to. When they're acting at the high school level, there's a lot of move here, then do this, and there isn't always a lot of explanation of why they're doing what they're doing. And so this particular class kind of gives them an insight into that.
If you're thinking about taking this class, talk to your counselor for next semester. Reporting for the Warrior Weekly were Travis Kokinos, Marco Vishnovac, Nate Gibson, and Ellie Machashik.
Finally, we secretly have a dynasty at MCHS. They've had major success every single year over the last 3 years, and they're one of the most dominant teams at MCHS.
The problem? You don't know them. Warrior Student Media has a story.
This past week, MCHS's chess team took part in the state sectional competition. Coach John Leon explains how unique it is to coach chess.
Chess is very unique because it's both an individual sport and a team sport. So I have to keep each kid in mind as I develop my lesson, while I also keep the whole team in mind. So, for example, in a basketball, you would have everyone do layups, you'd have everyone work on your three-pointers. Here, I can't always do that. I have to single out some kids and be like, today you're going to work on this specific checkmate, and other kids are going to work on their openings.
Senior Maxwell Newton and junior Daniel Haneykamp talk us through their mindset in their first round and what they can improve on for the future.
I mean, to be honest, I was a little stressed because we just had conferences the week before, so I wasn't sure I was really ready for another tournament so soon.
I've had confidence, that I was going to win. And I never lost confidence, I guess. That was just my mindset,
I would say the first few moves of the game, the opening, as it's called in chess, where you just want to develop your pieces, get your king to safety. I kind of struggle with that. I don't really know many openings, so I kind of adapt instead of attacking.
While many look at chess as a solo sport, it is quite the opposite. Newton gives us a look into the more team-oriented aspects of chess.
Mostly just hanging out with friends. I know that's not really what people think of chess for, but it's the friends make it.
Wishing luck to the chess team as they qualified for state and will compete this weekend. Reporting for the Warrior Weekly were Lee McClellan, Jack Fisher, Vanessa Etherton, and Olivia Townsend.
Join us for a state send-off this Thursday during AIM to celebrate our chess team making it to the state competition.
That's all for today's show. Be sure to follow the Warrior Weekly on all social media platforms, including Twitter, Insta, and TikTok.
For Maddie Spencer and all of Warrior Student Media, I'm Emberlyn Carlson. Have a great week, Warriors.